And welcome back, everyone, to the start of a brand new What If series. Not a Naruto, not a Dragon Ball, no. Yu-Gi-Oh! You'll notice I'm not in the corner, and that's because I need maximum imagery here for what I'm about to do. And damn it, I'm going to do my best for this, so be kind. But what the poll came to was, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Lead slot, was, what if Jaden was the lead of the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel monsters, not Yugi? And by the way, next time we do this, I'm thinking once I get through the other two Yu-Gi-Oh! Suggestions, and I'm going to do an off and on. So when this is done, I'll go back to another Dragon Ball, then I'll go back to that Yu-Gi-Oh! Poll, except with just the remaining two ones I had. Then I'll go back to a Dragon Ball, and then I'll finish that up, and then we'll maybe do it again. Because I want to do it. I think what I'll do is I'll take Jaden off of the list, and then have the remaining five. The remaining ones duke it out again, and then we'll see where they show up. But anyway, so we now have questions, and I have answers. How am I going to do this? What is the history here? Does Jaden still have the Millennium Puzzle? Does he have a TEM? Does his hair suddenly change? What happens? So Jaden, I believe, is about 15 years old. In fact, I believe Yugi's actually supposed to be about the same age, if not a little younger, than Joey and Tristan. I think, because Jaden is a little different, and a very different personality. He's a lot more outgoing, a lot more confident. So I think when Joey and Tristan pick on him initially, he's a lot less receptive to it. And they just kind of feel like, oh, well, and then not getting a reaction from the one you're bullying can cause some to go away. It can cause some to, can cause some to keep bullying. I think Joey still ultimately takes one of the pieces of the Millennium Puzzle, tosses it. Jaden comes in to help them out at one point, save the day. And we never really see Jaden in a fight, but Jaden does occasionally strike me as a one who would maybe get physical if he had to. He probably would get his ass kicked. Doesn't look like a guy who knows how to fight, but he at least tries to help out and probably is a little better than Yugi did. And that's ultimately how their friendship starts. So there's that. Second, Yubel. Is Yubel still a thing in this continuity? Because obviously, Jaden's going to have his Elemental Hero deck. Should know, no matter what the series, the leads will have their decks from their series. Because these series are kind of also a versus in a way. In essence, could this character survive in this character's series? What ifs? So, Yubel is still a thing. Now, will Yubel come forth at any point in this series? I've been thinking on this for a while, and I'm still not 100% certain. We're only on episode 1. I'm probably going to lean towards no. Yubel had to come back essentially into the world through a combination of the dual energy collected and science and Thelonious Viper. You don't have any of that here. The closest you can get is maybe Shadow Games, and even then the Shadow Games, quite frankly, are stronger than Yubel. Yubel is not, she's a dual spirit, yes, but that's about it. She does have some massive power when she materializes, but she is not a shadow user, dark magic user, or Millennium Item. She's none of those. So, yeah. And plus, there's a little problem with a TEM. Now, how is a TEM working in this series? Is a TEM still a thing? Well, obviously, we have given Jaden the Millennium Puzzle, so a TEM still is a thing. However, I think, and yes, argument's sake, yeah, Jaden's the reincarnation, just looking different. I think the way a TEM's going to work here is he's actually going to work the way that Yubel works. He's more like a spirit who's there, or Astral from Zexal is, I think, a much better example. He's there to aid. He's there for support, and, Jaden's there to help him out. And every once in a while, maybe he takes over kind of like a Supreme King personality. When Jaden really is feeling, on the rare occasion, Jaden is actually feeling overwhelmed. But ultimately, he doesn't usually come out. Finally, actually two things. One, the second, we're going to be starting every one of the duel monsters at Battle City. This is very simply because the rules didn't exist in Duel Monsters Duel's Kingdom. That was when there was just no rules to the card game whatsoever. Battle City is when they came much closer to the actual real-world rules. Still having some wacky shenanigans, no doubt, but still. So we're always starting the series at Battle City. So whenever we're talking about dual monsters anyway, because after that, all the rules are pretty much kind of like the in-world rules to some degree. No waiting for your fusions to attack, nothing. So beyond that, because so everything that happened, Jaden's grandpa got his soul taken. He went to Duelist Kingdom, fought Pegasus, and somehow won. Maybe he was shining flare Neos. I don't know. Take your pick on what he made. But yeah, so now you're getting it, and he somehow beat Kaiba. How? He had Exodia, because it was his grandfather's deck, and he used his grandfather's deck at the time. Now, the difference here, though, is he didn't use his deck. So, Solomon Moto would actually still have Exodia here. No, so he doesn't. And you know what, by the way, do you think... Because they mentioned when they went to visit Domino City that Jaden asked if it was a real Blue Eyes in there. And he said, sure is. And did you think Kaiba... no, because Kaiba... Maybe later on Kaiba repaired it. Or someone repaired it. Because it's possible to get those damn things fixed. I'm sure it is. If you just asked Industrial Illusions, like Pegasus maybe did it or something like that. But yeah, Blue Eyes was still rich when Rebecca came in and confronted him. Anyway. So yeah, Duelist Kingdoms happened. Everything's all well and good. But last... and certainly not least, and this is actually very important, because this is kind of a what if the character could survive this universe to some degree, I had to figure out how to do the duels. And we'll discuss it more when we get to the Rare Hunter duel. But I figured out a way I want to do the duels, but there are catches. Because they're the leads of the plot, they're going to get 3 free plot armors. That's it. No more, no less. Because even the lead gets beaten, i.e. Raphael versus Yami. So you get 3, and that's it. If you lose past that, you fail the series, basically. And that's the end of the series. But the way I figured out how to do the duel part of this, essentially, I looked at a duel. I looked at the Rare Hunter duel, for example. Saw how many turns it ultimately went. Then I looked for a duel that Jaden did in the original series. And try to find a duel that matched that many turns. And in essence, those are the hands he draws for that duel, but he may play differently based on what the opponent's playing. That's how I decided to do that. Now, you might, well, you could do whatever you want. Sure, but that means the character could never lose, really, if that's the case. Here, I kind of made it as equal as possible. And by the way, I'm not choosing it specifically on what the cards he had in his hand were at the time, or what he ultimately drew. I'm picking it on based on the number of turns it went. If it goes above a certain amount of turns, great. If not, so whatever, good. But there is a catch-22 on that. Now, let's actually get finally into the actual video, the actual series itself. This would take place at the beginning of Battle City. Joey got beaten by the Rare Hunter, had to give up his red eyes. Jaden is, hey, Mai, it's good to see you. Hey, Jaden. Oh, Jaden, I look forward to beating you again. You said it. My retroactive's not bad, actually. He's like, this will be a whale of a good tournament. And then they all show up. And then Yoi's there, confronts the Rare Hunter. But you have a couple rare cards. Perhaps offering up your Flare Neos. Or not Flare Neos. We're not there yet. How about your Flame Wingman? And say, fine. If I win, you give Joey back his red eyes. If I win, or as you win, you get my Flare Neos. Yeah, Jaden, don't do it, you Jaden. Silence. And so, the duel begins between Jaden. I'm going to move Jaden down here real quick, because Jaden doesn't need to be here anymore. Between, there he is, Jaden and the Rare Hunter. Now, this is one of those scenarios where this was an exception, because I looked at because how the Rare Hunter played and how quickly he would have got to Exodia. The only way you win this game is unless you're Zane and like turn 1 Cyber End Dragon whatever with Power Bond. There's no way, and Jaden could have won. I ran the number. He didn't have any discard cards in his deck. He didn't even, besides Righteous Justice, he didn't even have any spell kill cards, really, except for, like, Wild Wingman. So, the only reason Yugi won was because of shenanigans. That's it. That's all. For plot was the reason Yugi won that fight. So to start out, this is the one free plot armor. He still got his 3 plot armors, but I think every individual goes up against them, unless I can find something in their deck list that says otherwise, gets to automatically win this duel. But how does the duel start? Well, obviously they draw their hands. The Rare Hunter's hand, unfortunately, I couldn't find an image of the Rare Hunter's first hand, but it was, one second here, it was more or less this, except he had only 2 pieces of Exodia in his hand. He had played a Graceful Charity, and he had an Aztec Golem in his hand. So, what is Jaden's opening hand? Well, I'm glad you asked there, folks, because I'm here to give you all those answers, all those delicious, delicious answers. The hand I made for him that allows Jaden to win. Because, by the way, Jaden has the cards that beat him in like 1-2 turns, so it's not a big. Starts out with Elemental Hero Necroshade, Polymerization, Wild Heart. You know what? We're just gonna go all the way to the top here. Wild Heart. Come on, all the way to the top now. Blade Edge. Come on. Sorry, my computer's just being right. Problem with so many images is trying to get them all to work out. Mirror Gate, and last but not least, Emergency Provisions. Now, Jaden, because Jaden has a tendency to go straight for the poly play right away, but because he's got Necroshade in his hand, and because of the fusion he can make, the first one up is actually Wild Heart. And so, yep, Wild Heart goes there, and he plays Wild Heart. He sets Mirror Gate and Emergency Provisions. They will not be playing a factor in this fight past this point, so we'll actually just get them out of the hand real quick. So there goes that, and there goes that. So those are set on the field. And he just starts with Wild Heart, and I'll put him right here, and he will end his turn. Now, as we saw, this was the hand he had this is the hand the Rare Hunter had after his first turn. So he played Graceful. I'm guessing there was a rule you couldn't play 2 in a row at the time. In fact, I actually think that was a real world rule at the time. So, yeah, he sets his Aztec Golem, which, by the way, if you don't know, he sets it. But if you don't know this card, if you swing into it and you've got lowered attack versus defense, the difference is multiplied in terms of damage to your life points. I believe it's actually by 300, if I'm not mistaken. I can't quite tell. Oh, I flipped the card, so I can't read it. But yeah, so he played that in defense, and he ended his turn. Jaden's turn. Now, this turn, I will say, this turn is based somewhat off of his play with Titan. I just altered the cards on, because in that turn, he then drew Pot of Greed. Whoop, there it is, Pot of Greed. And with his Pot of Greed, he drew, or at least in this case, he draws, yeah, there it goes, Fusion Recovery, which allows you to get a Fusion Material Monster and a Pot of Greed back. And the card that's going to end up giving him the game at the end. Come on, go all the way to the top there. Righteous Justice. Now, with those cards out of the way, Pot of Greed is no more. And gone. And Righteous Justice and Fusion Recovery get to go into the hand. We're going to put them right here for now. This lets Jaden do a massive play right now. He uses his Polymerization on his Wild Heart on the field and his Necroshade in his hand to create a really cool card. There still isn't a fusion for every single combination of elemental heroes, but still. Elemental Hero Necro Shaman, 1900 attack and 1800 defense. Now, you might be asking, well, he can't get over that card. Why would he do that? Well, first off, he wanted his Necroshade in the graveyard. Necroshade is going bye-bye in the grave. Yep, Necroshade is going bye-bye in the grave. And Wild Heart goes, Wild Heart goes bye-bye into the grave as well. So, you now have Necroshade. Necroshade's ability, if you're not aware, and I'm going to keep the poly here because obviously Fusion Recovery, is that it destroys a monster on the opponent's side of the field when it's summoned. put you there. When it's summoned, it then special summons a monster back to the field on your opponent's side of the field. Whatever monster. He's only got one. Maybe he has more. We don't know what he discarded, actually. So he brings back Stone Temple statue of the Aztecs, but it's in attack mode, which only has 300. Then, using Necro Shade's effect, he can now summon his elemental hero. Boop, 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 boop. He can now summon his elemental hero, Blade Edge, to the field. His Blade Edge, having 26,000 attack points and piercing damage, cleaves straight through Wildheart. The Aztec, which means he's lost 23,000 life points, bringing him down to 17,000. The Rare Hunter is not doing good, so that Golem goes bye-bye. Now there is the issue of the Rare Hunter's next hand. He played Graceful Charity again. This time he ended up with 4 pieces of Exodia, Gear Golem, and Swords of Revealing Light. Now, here though, he's got a problem, because unlike in the original, Jaden definitely has the means to kill him, even get over his Gear Golem, and the Shaman can now attack. So, we are just going to, where's my Fusion Recovery here? Fusion Recovery, there we go. And we're going to actually just move these guys real quick over here. And that way Righteous Justice is still in the hand. So, in order for him to not be killed, he brings out, I hate double-clicking when I say that. He brings out his Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress, in defense mode, which can stop Necroid Shaman's attack, but then plays the ever-lovable, ever-endearing, and always annoying, unless you're the one playing it, Swords of Revealing Light. Let's go one more underneath there. Yep, Swords are Revealing Light. So, he's got swords on the field now. We'll put it right underneath the Shaman. But he says, it's your turn. And Jaden draws his final card, which doesn't matter what it is, because he ultimately has his Deus Ex Machina, his Righteous Justice, which destroys 1 spell and trap on the field for every elemental hero you have. He has 2, destroys it. For good measure, he might use Fusion Recovery to bring back his Blade Edge, or sorry, to maybe bring back Wildheart. I had initially said he'd have Avian. He could fuse it with Avian, create Wild Edge or Flaming Wild Flame or Wild Wingman, something like that. Well, that was it, Wild Wingman. But nah. So he destroys the Swords of Revealing Light. Blade Edge comes in, slices over the Gear Soldier. That's another 4,000 life points, bringing him down to 400 life points, bringing him down to 13,000. 1,300. What am I talking about? And then Necroid Shaman comes in for the kill. The Rare Hunter is defeated, and it's like, all right, excellent work, Jaden. Thanks. And then I was like, so Jeff Pharaoh, you think you won this time, have you? What? The Pharaoh? Oh, you mean Yami? Well, no, that was all me. Oh, you don't be so much. You don't have to hiding behind your host. I see. What? He's not hiding. Jaden's just like, it's all right, Jaden. What is it you want? So he takes over Jaden briefly. He's like, what is it you want, Mac? Your power, the unlimited power of the Pharaoh, of course. But yeah, my Rare Hunters are all over the city. This is only the beginning. And then Jaden goes, wow, this isn't good. Yes, we'll have to keep on our toes, Jaden. And so he's like, here, Joey, you're right. Nah, Jaden, you keep it. I'm not ready for it yet. You know, I'm going to earn that card back. I've been relying on you for too long. So, you know, they go their separate ways. And now the what if has started. Next episode, I believe the next fight we would have is Jaden versus Arcana. Because, really, we'll be focusing mostly on the Jaden fights here. There's not much that, like, focusing on Joey would do. Or on Kaiba, unless they're interacting with each other. So focusing on the Jaden duels is what we're going to be doing mostly. And basically, we can also end this with him, like, Jaden's kind of just wandering around looking for an opponent. And say, you don't worry. You worry too much, Yami. You don't worry enough, Jaden. And so ultimately, that is the end of What If Jaden was the lead of Duel Monsters Part 1. Let's get him back up there on the screen, folks. Hey, Jaden. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you folks for the next one. What'd you think? Did you like it? Any thoughts? Let me know. Till then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.